There were a few hammers in the toolbox. There was one claw hammer, and I suggested she hold on to it because I had no real use for it, and I had so many of them. Took the rubber mallet just because these get beat up, you know, so no harm in having an extra one of those. Of course, always grab a Lixie hammer when it's included, right? This one's a little beat on this end. That side's still looking pretty good. And oddly enough, I found in the drawers, I found these two Lixie heads. Thought they were new replacements, but you can see this one's used as heck. So, don't know where that Lixie hammer was, but it wasn't in the toolbox. Excuse me, it wasn't in the toolbox. And then this is a Ballpeen hammer. It's got a lot of use on it by the looks of it. It's been around for a while. Check out this little... got a few nails driven in there to tighten up the head. Old trick. It's got a short handle on it though, so figured what the hell. That looks like that's seen the belt sander a few times maybe, or a belt grinder. Then there was this pair of screw jacks. Never seen any this style. They're kind of cool. So these are Armstrong Tool Company screw jacks. They say #1 on them. So I'm assuming maybe they had different sizes. So of course I know Armstrong, you know, makes a lot of lathe tooling and stuff like that, but I didn't realize they made screw jacks. So I don't know. I've got kind of an abundance of screw jacks. I've got a couple of sets that are similar in size to this. So I don't know. I might Chicago, USA. Pretty cool. Might have to keep these for myself. I haven't decided yet. Got locking nuts on them. I'm assuming that's what this is. Yeah, that's going to clamp that down and lock that so you can lock them in position. That's kind of neat. Interesting, currently there are no #1 Armstrong screw jacks on eBay listed, and in the sold listings, most of the ones that come up are #2s. There's a #2 that sold for $30. That would be the next size up from this. So the #2 is 4 to 5 inch range. So this is the first #1 that I see, and it sold, it's a single one. It sold for $37.50 plus $10.24 shipping. So I would venture to guess, I'd have to say these are probably pretty hard to come by. Oh, there's somebody who sold a set of 3, all 3 sizes next to each other for $70. And then, you know, I always find cards, those little plastic steric cards and everything, decimal charts, but this is a really nice one. It's a good size one. It's like an 8x11 fraction decimal multimeter chart, really easy to read. The only thing better than this is one of those big wall charts, which I do have. I think a Starrett one that I haven't decided where in the shop to put it up yet, so it's sitting off to the side. But this is kind of nice. I can keep this handy. We're approaching the end here. Only got maybe a handful more items to go here, and then some junk in the bottom of the box. Just we'll sift through real quick. It's just a block of steel with 2 threaded holes. I take that back. There's a threaded hole on this end, 2 threaded holes on one end, and what the heck is that? 2 little pins sticking out? Oh, that must be. There must be like grub screws down inside here or something. So I don't know what that's all about. Somebody stamped it and marked it SP dot slits block. Somebody has special use for that. We got a couple of nice cubes of steel that are precision ground on all sides by the looks of it. A log of steel. All kids love log. Nicely chamfered, and it's funny, there's no markings on it, but boy, if I were a betting man, I sure would think that that's got to be precision dimensions. Which of course I could verify with, what better way to verify than with a plastic caliper, right? That seems pretty square. This is a nice solid brass rod. Pretty long. This is a precision ground rod. That must have had a special purpose. He had a carriage bolt with a locking nut on each end. So I'm not sure what this for. Oh, hold on. I bet you this was a test bar. He's got a carriage bolt in each end with a locking nut, but the head of the carriage bolt has been modified. So it almost looks to me like he made this so it can be held between centers. So I wonder if this is a test bar for checking the alignment of a tailstock. Getting back to an item we found earlier, we being me and the mouse in my pocket, found the second one of these things. Same way, solid, not a nozzle, not an air nozzle or anything like that. Looks like it was made to screw in between, you know, like maybe there was a rod or something that this screwed onto the ends of. Almost seems like it was made for measuring between two surfaces or something, because that's such a flat tip. I think I found a couple of these early on, but now looking at it, got quite a few brand new in the bag, different sizes of gauge pins. Several of these are Vermont gauge, and a lot of these other ones, I'm not sure who the manufacturer is. This is Certification of Accuracy Class ZZ gauges. Oh, these are Myers. The ones in the blue bags are Myers. Alright. And then these smaller bags, white, are Vermont. Those might come in handy if I have any gauge sets. These fit any of the missing holes in any of my gauge sets. Here's another one of these things that I figured was kind of a shot in the dark. This is a Mitutoyo 395-741-10, and it is a 0 to 1 inch digital micrometer. And again, the issue with this is that it didn't want to turn on, so of course we're guessing it's just a dead battery, but you never know with this kind of stuff. And the other thing is that there were two of them, and the other one she was keeping. And the interesting thing here is, you know, I was out in the garage looking at this stuff, and I found a case for a more modern Mitutoyo digital micrometer, and she didn't know that was the case for it. So then she said, well, I have one in the house that I was keeping because she still does some inspection work at home for another company. So she was keeping that micrometer and a Mitutoyo digital caliper, and lo and behold, when she brought it out and I looked at it, it was clearly the one that went in that case. It was a more modern one. So either he had this as a backup, or possible that he purchased the new one because there was something wrong with this one. I don't know. Although this is good news. This was certified by Metrology Services Incorporated on April 1st, 2019. So this was due for recalibration on or certification. This was due for certification on April 30th, 2020. So that bodes well. So I don't know whether or not this is supposed to be a wake on some of these digital mics. They're supposed to just wake up if somebody turns the thimble, and then some of them you have to press one of the buttons, but it's not doing anything. So this uses this uses an SR44 battery, so we could probably borrow another one of those SR44 batteries. I'm guessing that's going to be dead. One of the two last couple items I got from this estate pick. Then I'm going to show you a couple items that I picked up just recently that I'm just going to add on to the end here. But this is a small Machinist Vice. It's seen a lot of action by the looks of it. We get an oopsie right there, a couple of peck marks from drill bits, and then somebody made some auxiliary jaws for it. Okay, right here. You can actually see that those are auxiliary jaws because they cover the oopsie mark right there. And then what they did was they milled or ground steps into it. which kind of makes it handy for holding really small parts, but then they've done some oopsies since they made those. So, good little bench beater vise. Two and 3/4 inch jaws on it. This is the size that you tend to see more often. I picked up this one not too long ago. That's beat to hell too. One of the only other two large items that came with this deal was this granite, indicator stand with granite base. Looks like it's a generic. I don't see any markings on it. It's got the fine adjustment here, which is kind of nice, but it's got the cheaper plastic knobs on it. So, but you know, I'll probably offer that to somebody for $10. I already got another one like it, so I don't need it. Oh, just backing up and looking at this depth and angle gauge I was getting ready to list. I now notice that this tag right here, which is completely like faded, washed out, if I turn it just right and the light hits it just right, I can actually make out the part number right on there, which is 7004-006. And when I run that through Google, that comes up as this is a PEC tool, PEC, and it was sold in the tool Travers catalog for like $31, but it's no longer available, so it's got a little bit of age to it. This is the one I've got in my box right now. It's a General. Looks like a number 404. So I'll offer these both up for sale, and just basically I'll keep the one that doesn't sell. These last two items I just picked up recently. They're not from this estate, but they're the only two items I have right now, so I figured that I would just tack them on at the end here. But this is a 5C spin indexer. That's what this is called. Let me get this out of the way. We'll get to that in a second. This is a 5C spin indexer. The way this works, this particular one is a phase 2. Clearly marked phase 2. It's Chinese import, so it's an import, but it's a little bit better quality import because the phase 2 stuff was held to a little bit better standard, in my opinion. Of course, if you can get a Uesa, that would be the Japanese one that I've seen, which is really nice. And then I think there was a hardened version of this. I'm not positive. Anyways, this is a really handy little fixture. Basically, you got the central tube. This is threaded for a 5C collet. So you can put any 5C collet you want in the nose here, okay? And then tighten it down. And once you've got that secured, you've basically got this wheel right here with a bunch of different pin locations in it. And you get the ability to basically lock in that part at a specific location. There's actually numbers on the back here, so you can actually do some calculations and figure out how many degrees out of the arc of the circle that you're actually dealing with. So there are 36 holes in this plate, so each rotation from hole to hole basically gives you 10 degrees of rotation, which in itself wouldn't be that very useful unless the operation you were trying to do involved being able to equally divide 360 by 10. But in this case, what you've got is you've got this, what they call a vernier, okay, which is these 10 holes marked 0 through 9 on the back here. And what they do is they allow you to move from, say, your initial reference position. If you then remove the pin and move it to another hole and then rotate until that hole engages, you've now moved it less than 10 degrees. It ends up being a different amount for each hole. I don't remember exactly. There are plenty of videos online. I'm not going to go into the operation of it. Basically, I just wanted to show that this is something I had picked up and got a pretty good deal on. I have one of these already, so I'm going to probably end up selling this one. I had one of these a while back that was almost brand new in the box. So they're pretty popular. And then they make a horizontal vertical 5C fixture that would be like a step up from this. And I've got one of those. And actually, I think that's what I got. I think I ended up selling the one of these that I had just because I had stepped up to that. And maybe some other time I'll show one of those. This right here is an interesting device. This is an attachment for a Bridgeport mill. This is actually made to clamp right onto the outside of the quill on a Bridgeport. And as luck would have it, the Wells Index milling machine that I have has the same size quill, so as a Bridgeport, which makes it nice that it can take those attachments. So what we've got a drive shaft down in here that's actually an R8. So this is made to fit a machine with an R8 spindle. So you would actually bring this right up onto the machine, drawbar would pull this up into position, and then you would tighten these set screws right here to clamp this down. And once it's in a fixed position, basically you've got a 90-degree drive. So what we have here on this side is an R8 bore. So this will now take any R8 spindle that you have. And somebody put some duct tape on the back here just because the retaining bolt is in there and they didn't want that to get lost. So the retaining bolt acts as a drawbar to pull in your R8 spindle. There's also a flat machined area on the side here on both sides, and that is so you can tram this in if you need to. So this would be good if you have the occasional operation where you wanted to run maybe a slitting saw or even a small arbor type milling cutter that for some reason you wanted to do an operation as if you had a horizontal milling machine. Not something you would use all the time, but still a handy tool, a handy attachment to have. And these tend to be pretty pricey. Bridgeport made one of these. It was a genuine Bridgeport brand. This one, judging by this label that's missing here or hard to see, certainly indicates to me that this is probably an aftermarket import. Again, I have one of these already, so I'm going to be able to resell this one, and it's probably going to bring around 150 bucks. Some of these go as high as 300, like if you get a genuine Bridgeport in really good shape. There's even believe it or not, there was an attachment that allowed you to put an arbor in here, and then there was a arbor support designed to mount, I believe, on the underside of the ram on the Bridgeport. And basically you could have an arbor with milling cutters on it, and then it would really be like a horizontal milling machine once you did that. Those arbor supports are hard to come by. I don't have one, and even if I did have one, those are designed for the milling. Those are designed for the J-head Bridgeports, and the ram on a J-head Bridgeport is different. Quite a bit different in design than the Wells Index mill, so I wouldn't be able to use it anyways. And I thought at some point down the road, if I wanted to, I could fabricate my own arbor support, but I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, here's the last of the stuff I haven't gone through yet. See if there's anything in here worth getting excited about. There's a nice brush. It's like a combination file card and brush. Another one of these, probably a Bondus. Yep, 5/32. Brush. This little Torx Driver set, a little miniature one. I was going to say it's missing a couple of sizes, but here's one right here. Compass from a drafting kit. That's actually a Torx set. Right there, Allen wrench or hex key, stone. There's a big T-handle style Allen wrench, little snap ring pliers. Well, these are interesting. They got a little adjustment thing on them, so you can. I guess if you were using these for internal ones, you could lock this down and keep it compressed as you're lowering it down into a bore. checked, and I think a lot of these carriage bolts that are in here, carriage bolts. Why do I keep saying carriage bolts? It's driving me crazy. I've been doing that a lot lately, calling these socket head cap screws. A lot of these are stainless. There's a nice hunk of brass, quite a few holes in it, but might still have some use. We got the proverbial pennies that were in the drawers. We got some more of these tiny end mills. This small little socket adapter here to go from 3/8 to 1/2 inch is actually, it's a proto, so that's actually decent quality. I don't know what this little cup is. Micrometer wrench. There's some dowel pins. There's another. Well, I wonder what that is. Looks like maybe he made a little holder for something. Little hunk of brass. Hannah screwdriver. Punch. Oh, Allen wrenches. Bag of ball bearings, different sizes. Those are always handy. Basic Lathes Formula Book. Basic Lathes Formula Book by Hardinge. There's a little pick tool. Straight blade for scraper, BT5. Well, those are really small. Huh. This is a little tiny parallel. It's a 154A. Stare it. It's in great shape too. That's a nice little find right there. If somebody's missing the A size in their 154 set, right there's worth $5 or $10. That's about it. I got these blades I set aside that I found fishing through stuff. I'll put those with my other blades. Some dowel pins. This is a little nozzle to go on a air gun. And then this is just a bunch of different Allen wrenches that I found in there. I'll go through and see if any of them look like they belong to the holder over here. See if any of them make that set. Alright, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this this series. I'm sure this was a multi-parter as much as I enjoyed it. And if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Take care.